Lake Como half marathon, done and dusted, and I thought it would be, but that was one of the most amazing experiences I've ever had. Obviously, one of the main reasons why I signed up to the race was because of the scenery, and it was a place that had been before. So me and my wife came here in April, stayed in exactly the same flat, exactly the same view, which if you can see from here now, this is the view from the balcony. So literally like right at the bay of the lake in Como, and the scenery around the run was amazing. One of the things that gets you through it when you're starting to get tough. And yeah, like, we woke up at sunrise. Everybody's lining up at Villa Olmo, which is a villa just on the other side of Como, and that's where the race started. It's a pretty crammed start. Alright, good luck, Jules. See you for a drink in a bit. So you've got everybody kind of going into like a small little path to begin with. So trying to pick up a little bit of pace at the start of the race was tough, but I guess with a half marathon it's not a huge issue because of the length of the run. But yeah, like, what an amazing experience. Happy with the time, got 1:26:41. My absolute like #1 time would have been like 1:24, which was, that would have been like 3:59 pace all the way round, which is pushing it, to be honest with you. I didn't expect to do that. I've got to say, like, a couple of days before the actual run itself, I wasn't expecting to do that, but sometimes you never know. Sometimes you get to the actual run and you can feel good and it can happen, but it wasn't happening today. But did feel amazing, did feel really, really good all the way through it. And the aim became about getting my time into the 120s, which I did, so I'm happy with that. I knocked about five minutes off the PB. So pre-race, to be honest with you, like, when you come to a foreign country, tracking's difficult, so you can't be like super specific on the like carbohydrate targets and stuff like that unless you're going to places where you know exactly how many carbs are going to be in each meal. But tried to make sure that I was getting enough carbs in throughout the day. Lunch was like a spaghetti bolognese, and then came home earlier in the evening to make sure I got a decent night's sleep, and just got like a few bagels in with jam. Had some pineapple as well. Just made sure that carbs were high before I went to bed. And then in the morning, it was a little like protein yogurt with a couple of bagels again, bit of jam, and then a little bit of caffeine with like a Red Bull drink. I didn't want to turn on the espresso machine because I got 2 other people in this room with me. And that was my first time trying a beetroot shot as well, which was absolutely hanging. But the run went well, so I don't know whether it's down to the beetroot shot, but it's definitely something I'd do again, simply because the run went well. But yeah, it was shocking. But yeah, I think like the thinking behind the beetroot shot is really, really high in nitrates, and then can improve like oxygen delivery to your blood and that sort of thing. So the research is there to back it up, so I wanted to give it a go. So yeah, I felt good going into the race. That was about maybe an hour and a half before it. Obviously, everything about nutrition pre-race is about making sure that you've got enough glycogen in your system to actually run off. And then the second thing is making sure that you don't shit yourself all the way through the race. And that's it. That is actually a massive consideration before doing a race, because it does things to your bowels, which you want to try and avoid. With the actual run itself, started off nice, like fairly flat. On the actual course description, it does say that you should prepare yourself for some hills, and being around the lake, you can see like there are obviously a lot of hills alongside the lake, so I was expecting some, but I didn't really know like to what degree. We got about 5-6k in, and there was just this like incline that just seemed to last forever. It seemed to last for like an entire kilometre, and it was grim, but because it was early in the race, you could kind of handle it. The downhills coming off that were amazing. So then when we came to like the downhills, I wanted to allow that downhill to really take me and try and put as little effort into it as possible, and went down to as low as about 325, 330 on those downhills. And I think that's the key when you're running on a course with a little bit of elevation. It was the same with the Altrincham 10k, with like to a much lesser degree, but if you're gonna struggle on the uphill, which obviously you are, then you've got to make sure that the downhill you really take advantage of, because otherwise the seconds start to run away from you. So I got to like 11k, because the route gets to 11k and then it basically comes back round and then goes back to the villa. I got there on my Garmin, I got there in about 44:20. So I know I was like, okay, I'm 20 seconds behind what my like target pace was, because ideally I wanted to do it in like an average of 4 minutes per kilometre. And I was all right with that, to be honest with you. And then yeah, like everything was fine. Like the scenery was amazing. I was tapping on the GoPro like every time that we got to a nice little bit of scenery. Ran past Villa d'Este, which is a beautiful villa on the lake, one of the most famous ones. Just a lot of nice like cobbled winding streets, hotels, that sort of thing. Came back round, and then yeah, like you knew that you were going to have to do a fair bit of uphill again, because after that uphill at about 6k there was a really nice stretch of downhill, which again seemed to last for about a kilometre. And when you're hitting that at 15k, it is grim. That was awful. That was honestly, I thought I was going to throw up at that point, and usually I feel pretty good during these runs, but that was shocking. And that hit me pretty hard. Went up to about 530 on that, so I was really struggling at that bit. But again, like came into the downhill, but just didn't seem to have the legs to go into the low threes again. So it was like a 345, 350 maybe. But yeah, I mean, in terms of like any sort of strategy or psychology, I was literally just trying to do 5Ks at a time, and just trying to get to the next 5K, But it was a stunning route, it really was, and that made it a lot easier to push, I think, because I think without that, you know, when you are starting to feel a bit grim, and then there's nothing around you, there's nobody there supporting or anything like that, that's difficult. But what an experience. Absolutely loved it. A week after the Hyrox as well. My body felt fine after the Hyrox, so I can't say that affected anything, and didn't. And yeah, I've come out of this year with just starting running in like January, and I've done 3 10Ks. I've done a few 5K time trials, but no races. A Hyrox, and then this. And it's a nice way to cap off the year. But now I'm ready for like a month of doing absolutely now because my legs are ruined.
Avrà tenuto lo stesso passo.